Oh, hello, Nope. Oh, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between. My name is Dactronicus, and boy, do I have I hit the mic. Did you hear that? Hit the mic. Oh, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between. My name is Dactronicus, and boy, do I have a story to tell you. Once upon a time, there was an idiom, you might have heard of it, called a taste of your own medicine. But do you know where it comes from? It comes from an old Aesop fable. It comes from an old Aesop fable. It comes from an old Aesop fable called The Cobbler Turned Doctor. Now, in this story, a cobbler is not doing very good with his living. I mean, he's making shoes, for goodness sake. He's making shoes, for goodness sake. I don't have a shoe. I don't have a shoe. There's no shoes in here. Why isn't there shoes in here? Anyway, this cobbler decides to practice medicine instead. He doesn't know anything about medicine. Nope. Anyway, this cobbler decides to practice medicine instead. He doesn't know anything about practicing medicine, of course, but he's going to do it anyway. He develops this mystical drug that's supposed to cure you of all poisons. And for a while it works. He gets lots of money, but people keep dying instead. But they believe in the power of this medicine. However, of course, everything goes sour a little bit later. He gets sick. And so the king of these people decides to come to him and say, hey, of course, everything goes sour when he gets sick. The king of all the people comes and brings him a cup of his own medicine and puts poison in it and says, here, this will cure you. Well, it didn't. Well, it wouldn't. The guy decides not to drink it because it's poison and it's his own medicine that is obviously faulty. Turns out the king didn't actually put poison in the cup. It was actually water. It was just a test to see Turns out the king didn't put poison in the cup. Turns out the king didn't put poison in the cup. He just put water in it. But he wanted to see if the cobbler, Turns out the king didn't actually put poison in the cup. It was all a ruse by the king to see if the cobbler was actually making good medicine, which of course he wasn't. But the cobbler, on his deathbed, was told to take this medicine that he knew was faulty and didn't. And in essence, he was getting a taste of his own medicine. But if you think that one's good, you should hear this story. There's an old saying called a pig in a poke, and it kind of means that there's an old saying about a pig in a poke, and if you haven't heard it, it means that you're being deceived in some way. But where could that possibly come from? It comes from the late Middle Ages. People went to the market to buy pigs because that was really good meat back then. But pigs weren't that common. People went to the market to get pigs, but meat wasn't that common. Let's start over. Back in the late Middle Ages, people went to the market to buy pigs. It was really good meat back then, especially for what was provided. But you see, the people in the market didn't always have pigs. Pigs were hard to come by because they were such good meat. Instead, they would try to trick patrons by putting something else in their bag. Hence why the pig in a poke is... They would try to deceive the people buying the pigs by putting something else in the bag. They would try to deceive the patrons by putting something else in the bag, something that kind of resembled a pig. Hence why a pig in a poke is a... Things that... Some of the things that were easier to come by were some of the pets that just roamed through the streets, some cats and dogs. Can you imagine you go to the market and you buy a pig and you come home with a cat? That's a bad day. But you see, this didn't always work on everybody. Some of the smarter people, some of the people that had already been deceived, sometimes they looked in the bag even before they bought the dang thing. And these smarter people would reach in the bag and, in essence, let the cat out of the bag. Right? The end. If you like this story, hit like, hit subscribe. Still don't know which side is which. If you have any ideas for future stories, leave it in the comments below. Have a great day, and do good.